You see, the thing about leadership is that you don't do it alone. You need some help along the way. That's why there's some interesting people out there that we showcase on XL 10 Minute Leaders Live. They all help in different ways. Today in the studio, I'm joined all the way from the United States, from the US in the morning to evening here in Singapore, from Graham Brown to Denise Dixon, the life coach. Denise, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited, and I'm not usually excited in the morning. So
Not this early.
kudos to you.
Wow, we feel privileged that you've graced your morning presence with us. So we've
I
got
do
10 minutes
try.
together.
All right.
All right, are you ready?
All right. As ready as I'm ever going to be. Let's go.
Exactly. Let's do this then. So I'll give you an easy question to start off with, Denise. What does it say on your business card?
Denise, the life coach. If you change the way you look at things, if you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things begins to change, which is one of my favorite quotes by Wayne Dyer.
Oh,
That's one
Wayne
of my
Dyer.
business cards. That's one. I'm Jamaican, so that means I have a few. If you
Mm,
guys know anything about Jamaicans, we have a few jobs usually.
yeah, exactly. A wonderful place. You moved from Jamaica to the US.
Yes, when I was 14, I did.
I can still
And
hear the lilt when you say Jamaica. I can hear the accent, but
I
otherwise it's
hear it a
American.
lot. If I'm with my family, then it sounds more like this.
Yeah. I like that. That's good. It's got character. All right. So you're a life coach. I mean, there's a lot of people who do life coaching out there, and some are not so good, some are amazing. I don't think people fully understand what life coaching is about. What do you see it as? What do you do for the people that you work with?
I think what sets me apart from other life coaches is I was in traditional therapy at first. So I do have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. And I ended up doing life coaching because I wanted to have a less formal approach and a space where I can hold people a little more accountable and we can be in a more natural, authentic kind of environment. Not saying that counseling isn't, but I want to be able to tell you as it is,
Mm,
in real time. And so nowadays, sometimes you have a lot of people that just say, hey, I'm a life coach and I give good advice. And that's not what I look at life coaching as. I really look at the primary ingredient or essence of life coaching as the person who's a life coach who's actually doing the work, who has done some work, who's going up the mountain, who recognize cycles, patterns, correlations, and can help you along the way, right? You want
mm,
someone who's actually been through something in order for them to be able to help you, but not just been through something and that's the sole space in which they help you from. You also want them to have some theoretic framework in which
mm,
they're coming from. And so I'm
mm.
able to utilize both of those components.
Interesting. You trained as a practitioner, as a therapist, and then moved
Yes.
into like life coaching as well. So we're going to learn a little bit about that. And my experience with life coaching years ago, and it was probably a negative experience that put me off, and it's probably what you're pointing to, is that some people go into this and they don't have the training, is that
Hmm.
I went to see somebody and I was at the time running a business and, I just wanted to explore what I could do, how I could do better, how I could be less stressed and so on. And he sat there and listened to me. He just kept asking me questions. And I felt quite frustrated because I felt actually I'm here to get some answers rather than just somebody keep asking me more questions. And I can understand that was his approach to coaching. And in some respects, they teach that, don't they? Ask really good questions. But I
In a
felt
way.
that it was just, I was doing all the work. I'm not sure if I was the wrong patient or whether I just approached it the wrong way. What was going wrong there? That seemed to be something was missing. Was it me or was it the way he was doing it or what?
They're twofolds because what you're describing is an experience that I had similarly in traditional therapy. And I too felt incredibly frustrating because I felt like the questions were more so perusing and they weren't really, I couldn't see how they were going to help me to elicit the
Mm,
answers that I was looking for. And again, it comes from the space of not having formal training and really asking questions out of curiosity or asking questions that will trigger or elicit something within the person you're asking. So you might have
mm,
been experiencing two things. You could also have been experiencing a situation where you were so wanting the answer that you weren't willing to kind of like be open to, is this question on the path of the answer? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And
Mm.
sometimes life coaching really isn't giving you the answer. It's more so teaching you how to fish as opposed to giving you a fish. So it's like, okay, well, have you asked yourself this question? Because sometimes that is a prelude to actually uncover the answer. Like, well, why do I feel that way? What is that about? Why
Mm.
am I so angry? Why am I so irritated? I don't care about you that much to be this irritated. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
those kind of probing questions can indeed sometimes lead to the answer. But I always say when I have a client, if you're feeling a little bit of a frustration or a little bit of discomfort, I like that because there's something in there. There's
Mm.
something in the nest of that. And I would have loved to have you as a client because I would have
Ah,
loved to
was
explore that.
that was just wrong place, wrong time, wrong person. There you go.
Yeah, but trust your gut. If you
Mm.
felt like this wasn't a
Yeah.
match, if you felt like it didn't resonate with you, trust your gut.
Mm.
That's one of the advice that I tell people. It's better
Mm.
you're wrong than you were right and you stayed in a situation, as in life, where it wasn't a match for you.
Yeah. I appreciate that you said that because I've actually spoken to that to other people and they've put it back to me and said, "Oh, it was me." It was, you maybe just interpreted it wrong. And that, like,
Mm,
what your answer is different. So I think it
yeah.
speaks volumes about how you approach it as well, rather than kind of defending the trade and the people involved in it, because there are many, like you said, there's many different peoples involved in doing this, and not all of them have
I'll
the skills.
I'll tell you something to be quite honest with you. I didn't go for a master's in counseling because I wanted to be a therapist. I
Mm.
went for a master's in counseling honestly because I was so frustrated with the attempted therapy that I was going to. Like I would be 2, 3 sessions max, and then I'll be like, I cannot pay this amount of money for you to nod and tell me that must have been rough. I
Yeah.
mean, it's my life, So I actually was frustrated with the fact that I wasn't getting real answers. And then when I went to study, it was really so I could have answers for myself. And in doing so along the way, I found out a lot about myself, but I also
Mm.
found out how incredibly difficult and frustrating it must be to sit in front of a person because it takes a lot to go to a therapist, to go to a life coach. So
Mm.
when you're there, you're quite often like on the edge or on the ledge. And so for somebody to not be able to recognize, identify, or I see you, in a way where it is I see you. Like I'm not just I wanted to make sure that when I sat in front of someone, that the first session you have with me, you're going to be like, yeah, you get it.
Mm.
You get it. You might not have solved my whole life, but something that I said to you has to make you feel like I understand from the very core of what you're saying, not theoretically, not philosophically, as if I was there with you in that moment and I understand the elements of that essence of what you're trying to convey. Because if
Mm.
I don't have that connection with you, you're basically I'm not the right match for you, and
Mm.
neither is the person who's sitting across from you, quite frankly. And a lot of people won't be happy that I said that, but that's really my core belief.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah, it is what it is, and that's what you believe in.
Yeah.
Do you feel that in what you do, that when people come to you, they say, "Oh, I have this problem," or "This is what I'm struggling with"? Is that actually what they're struggling with? Do you often find that people come guarded, or they come with smoke screens, or at that point when people come to you for coaching, are they at the point where they are aware of what the problem is? Because I mean, people are very complex and messy.
Oh
How
my
do you find? Because
goodness.
you must have this sort of X-ray vision sometimes when it comes to people's words.
Yes. And that's one of the beauties of being a life coach. I don't take every client. And it's not me judging, it's that sometimes people really aren't ready to do the work
Hmm.
they say they are ready for. And so I'll have a client that will come and say, I don't think anything is wrong with me. I'm just here because my wife or my cousin or somebody said I should come. And that person usually to me has a lot more issues. A person who comes and says, oh my gosh, like just the sky's fallen, it's usually an easier person to navigate with because quite often they've catastrophized what the symptom is, which is really not the problem, right? So the thing they've identified as the problem is quite often the symptom. And it's easier for me to have a conversation with that person because their curiosity is higher in terms of let's go find what's wrong. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not, it's all perspective and it's all, how am I looking at this? Is this happening to me? Is this happening for me? Am I looking at this from the lens of my inner child or as an adult? Am I looking at this from the me that I was told that I was, as opposed to the me that I haven't uncovered, recovered, or discovered? So I love being able to have those conversations with people who are open and ready, because quite frankly, a lot of times people aren't. They want you to just skim around the edge with, being a little flattery and a little complimentary, a little empathetic. And I do give you empathy, but what I give you more than I give you empathy is accountability, because I want you to understand that you are not in the passenger seat of your life. You are in the driver's seat of your life. So what role are we playing in what's happening to us? Not to say it's your fault, but you are a participant in the trajectory of your life. So we're either going to go on the highway, we're either going to exit, you know what I mean, make a detour or something, but we're going to find ways and tools to navigate and kind of manage the direction in which life is going. And I love having those experiences with people because I can see the light, in their eyes. And that's what I work for.
Yeah, that's the reward. Wonderful.
Yes.
And that's your
Yes.
gift as well, Denise.
Thank you.
Denise Dixon, the life coach, everybody. Where do we find out more about you?
Easiest place is my website, iamdenise.com. That's www.iamdenise.com. And all my information is available there, and social media and all of that good stuff.
Excellent. Denise, it's been a real pleasure. Enjoyed this chat and enjoyed the heartfelt candor as well.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
Very much needed at this time, not just, in terms of where we are in the world. I think the last 18 months, a lot of people have found it quite tough, but also these conversations that people are having now, I think it's great to see that people are actually talking more frankly and more openly about what matters. We're seeing it in the news, how much mental wellness, you go back 5-10 years, we didn't talk about these things, right?
So. Absolutely. Not as openly. And I think, I don't want to say that's the good thing of the pandemic, because, there isn't a good thing about a pandemic, but I think there has been, in fact. I think it's forced us to take a deeper look at ourselves, at our mortality and life in general. So absolutely, we're talking more about things.
There you go, folks. I am Denise, not me. She. I am Denise.com. Check her out. Denise, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.